anxious moment, but I've learned just to go with the flow. So
Good
there we
woman,
go.
good woman.
Yes, exactly. So hello and welcome everybody. Welcome to the weekly session. It comes by so fast, but I know we're the guilty pleasure for so many people who leave lovely comments that they enjoyed that interview while they were having a cup of coffee or tea. So I'm Aurora Dawn Campbell, your host as usual. And this is billed as Ask Me Anything About Accreditation. But invariably, I've got a lovely guest to join me, and it just becomes a great conversation that you can eavesdrop in. And if you've got any questions, you can drop them in the chat box. We're live all over social media, and my VA, Gillian and Rowena, will be fielding any questions. So sit back and enjoy as usual. Carolyn, just to set the scene so you know the type of people who are listening and sending in questions when we do get them. This session is really for people who want to add coaching or mentoring to their skill set. And
Okay.
Carolyn is ideally placed to answer any questions, answer any of your questions about how do I do that? How do I add that to my skill set and evidence portfolio? Or if you're somebody looking to work with a coach and or mentor, again, Carolyn is ideally placed to support you achieve your personal and professional goals. This is a busy time of year for us coaches because people want to achieve their goals before the end of the year, and that New Year's resolutions come around all too quickly. And then, of course, we have people who like you, Carolyn, are training providers. They're universities. They're all training the next generation of coaches and wondering how does accreditation help them achieve that international profile with students when they're choosing which is the right coach training program for them. So that's kind of the overview of who could be listening. And of course, there will be coaches out there who think, what's accreditation? I've been coaching for years and this has completely passed me by. So I never quite know what questions, if any, we're going to get. So I want to introduce you properly before we get into a
Thank
conversation,
you.
Carolyn.
Yes.
For everybody who's listening, Carolyn Curtis has been with the IAPC&M for a couple of years now. She's accredited at the highest level. She's a founder of our authority, which is the Accreditation Institute for Coaching and Mentoring Profession. She has an accredited level 7 course. That's degree level. And having looked at the course when we were accrediting it, I can tell you, I don't think at that time we'd ever met anybody so diligent and methodical with their information, their processing, their assessing. And I know you look after your students beautifully on a one-to-one basis. It's an evergreen program. I've spoken to lots of your students. So anybody listening who wants to have a very holistic aimed approach to coaching with lots of beautiful modules, then you definitely want to check out Carolyn's course, Coach for Life, on the IAPC&M directory.
Thank you so much,
So,
Dawn. Thank you.
you're
It's a pleasure
welcome.
to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So I like to start these sessions very informally, but usually a great transpersonal question because we like to get inside the person as opposed to the issue. What makes your heart sing, Carolyn, outside of work? I know you're a holistic practitioner and you walk the walk, and you live in a beautiful place. So I kind of think I know the answers.
Yeah, I reckon you do, Dawn. I reckon you
But for the
do.
benefit of everybody else, what makes your heart sing outside of work?
Outside of work. Oh gosh, Dawn, it would be easier to ask me what doesn't make my heart sing, to be quite honest. The list goes on. Definitely where I live, nature, beauty. I swim in the sea most mornings. If I don't swim in the sea, I walk by the sea. I'm surrounded by volcanic mountains. I just love it. Absolutely. It makes my heart sing how I start my day. It's the best start you can have to your day. And before I lived here, it was still walking in nature. You know, I lived near enough to the loch in Cork City, and I used to walk to the loch, walk around the loch and the trees and nature and the colours. And so definitely that. Other things are stories. I love stories. I love listening to people's stories, to their life stories. I love good films. I love listening to Amazon Audible, and so listening is a big thing for me. But I do like to talk. The Irish is in me, Dawn. I
Irish,
do like to
yes.
talk.
You
And
can't
I
fight,
love
you
music. Yes. And I love music and rhythm and dance. And recently, John, I saw something that I just thought it was brilliant. Can I share it with you? It'll only
yeah,
take a
please
second.
do.
It was on television, some program, and they were showing this woman in the UK in the town she was living in, and she walks, I'm not sure if it was 4 kilometers or 4 miles a day, but she wanted to get healthier. She wanted to trim down a bit, and it just wasn't going there for her. So she decided to mix dancing and walking together. And
Oh,
she dances through her town and dances the 4 miles or 4 kilometers. And she is totally trimmed down, transformed her health, but also her mental health. And
yeah.
so obviously she must be listening to music, but the difference she's made in the town, and she said everyone just smiles and when they see her, and so I think how we start our day can have a huge influence on us. It really can.
That is a beautiful
Mm.
story. I love that. Um, I have little breaks periodically in between calls, and I'm listening to a show that I've just discovered called The Piano. I don't know if you've come across it, but
No,
Claudia
no.
Winkleman and crew put a piano in the different train stations, and today was Cardiff, and
Oh,
people get invited to share their story. And one of the guys who was invited every day is on a bicycle with a piano on a little trailer. So there's somebody pedaling this little trailer and he's playing the piano, and they do it every day for years around Cardiff, raising money for charity. And I just said to my husband, we were sat watching it, what a wonderful legacy. You have
mm.
touched so many people's lives, brought so much joy, raised money for charity, and you're doing what you love. And that lady dancing around her town is doing exactly the same thing.
Same thing, same thing. It has really affected the people in the town in a really nice way,
Yeah.
but I'm surprised that I would have thought there would have been ducks after her. Can we follow along? So I think if I was in that town, I just might be behind her.
Yes. Yeah, a bit like the Pied Piper.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Oh, that is lovely.
So
You're
those are
so
all the
right.
mix
We
of
can
things.
choose,
Yeah,
can't we? We can
we
choose.
can, we can, we can.
I'm a bit of an insomniac, and Robert often says to me in the morning, "I'm surprised you're not grumpy." I said I could be, but I choose not to
Mm.
be because of lack of sleep. But what's the point in being grumpy? Just be
That's
happy.
true.
It's
That's
far
true.
better choice.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
I'm interested you mentioned about the cold water swimming. I'd have my first one coming up on Saturday. I've always been a bit, I mean, I've been here by the sea for 30 years. I've never gone in other than once with my dog. When I got her a new life jacket, I went in quite deep and let her swim back. But I've never swum in it
Okay.
because I have um I have a bit freaked out by pollution. And I know, that cruises and yachts and things empty their toilets out at sea. I know it gets all eaten by the fish, but it's always put me off. And I love the idea of cold water swimming, all the health benefits, the mental
Mhm.
health benefits, the physical health benefits. So I've joined a group and I start on Saturday. So that's my
Oh,
big
it's
hurdle to get
addictive.
over.
It really is. It is addictive. And what I have found, because I go out quite early, and well, to me quite early is around 8:30. That's probably not quite early. But yeah, I go out at that time, and I always find I can hear the boat coming in now. It's blowing a horn. I always find that just before I go down into the water, I relax my whole body and just glide down into it. Don't think about it, don't tighten. And it's so much easier,
Yeah.
so much easier than thinking, oh, this is cold, but just relaxing your body and glide down into it.
Okay. Any other
That's my
tips?
tip. That's it. That's it. Yeah, that's
And
it.
so you have to wash your hair every day. Do you go under?
No, I don't go under. No,
Right.
no. I
Okay.
occasionally when I'm snorkeling, obviously, but yeah,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't
And
because yeah, it takes
a
so long to
wetsuit
dry
or
my hair.
swimsuit?
Oh, swimsuit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You
Well,
can do it, Dawn. You can
yeah.
do it.
Well, I've been following Wim Hof for years, and I do his breathing exercises, and I have cold showers. So I want to do this. And luckily for me, it's 8:30. On Wednesday it's 7:30, and that's just not for me.
Yeah,
But 8:30 I can do. So
8:30
yeah,
is a
think of
good
me on
time.
Saturday morning.
Yes,
You can be my
lovely.
accountability buddy.
I will. I look forward to hearing about it.
And that's the
Lovely.
beauty of coaching, isn't it? That
It
all
is.
important accountability. That's what's missing with a lot of people's personal and professional goals. We say we want to write a book. We say we want to change our career. We want to give up smoking. But unless we're held accountable, these New Year's resolutions become regurgitated. So I much prefer to think about them as New Year solutions. But if you can't do it on your own, and if your family and friends are sabotaging you, which they often are, even
Mm,
unconsciously, then get the help of a coach or
yes.
mentor. How
Yes.
did you
Yes.
get into it? Because I know you're very passionate about training the next generation of coaches. What was your journey, please, Carolyn?
With swimming, with coaching, with
Coaching, sorry.
coaching. How did I get into it? Well, I love stories. That was my beginning. As a child, I used to love visiting the elderly people in my neighborhood, more than even playing around with children. You know, I loved stories. I loved listening to their lives. And it wasn't until in my very early 30s, when I was recovering from an illness, that, every cloud has a silver lining. And in that time, I came across Louise Hay's book, You Can Heal Your Life. And that was the beginning of my journey, and it empowered me. And most of all, it gave me hope. Hope that, you know what, I can come through this, and I can come through this better than ever. And I began to really study the book and learn about it. And it definitely had a big impact on my mental health, on my emotional health, and we know everything is connected on. So that also helped my immunity. And my doctor had said it's going to take 5 years for you to recover, and it didn't. I recovered much quicker than that once I found that book. So sometimes it's just changing how you think about things
Mm.
can really change how you feel about them, and that has such an influence in your body. And so that started my journey. I ended up training in so many different courses, and I trained in the Louise Hay and teaching the Louise Hay. And I studied meditation and stress management. And oh, Dawn, once you start, once you go
Every
down
day's a
that
school
path,
day.
I know. I just loved it, loved it, loved it. And I always thought, oh, there's something else that could really help my clients. And, I obviously then went and trained in coaching, and everything just came together. And it wasn't until one lovely lady who I had been coaching for a while said to me, I want to train as a coach. Her name is Antoinette, if you're listening, Antoinette. And Antoinette went off and did her homework, her growth work, checked out all of the colleges, and came back the next week. And I said, how did you get on? Oh, yeah, I got on okay, good, good. And I said, so who have you found to train you? And she said, I'm looking at her. I said, I don't train people. I don't, that's not what I do. I coach. And she said, but you're the one with the skills that I want. I want all of your skills. And therein started the biggest journey of my life in building the training course. And she was my very first student. And it was just the start of a dream come true. It really was. And I knew the minute that I started it, I love teaching with a passion. And my students are like an extended family. And I still keep up contact with the ones that are happy to keep up contact. And I love it when they call me. And, I love following them. I'm a little bit like a groupie following them, but seeing how they're getting on and how are you doing. And, on social media, I love to see them doing so well. And now some do it just for themselves, just because maybe they're retiring and they want to keep their mind going, or for whatever reason, they want to do it for their own confidence. They learn the skills, they don't necessarily coach, but many people who do the training with me go on and coach. And it's just such a joy to see them listening to their stories from their clients and helping their clients, come through whatever it is, whatever challenge it is, and achieve what they want in their lives.
Mm. What an
So,
amazing compliment.
yeah.
from Antoinette, was it?
Antoinette Murphy, yes,
Antoinette,
in
yeah, what a
Dublin,
beautiful
yeah,
compliment.
yeah.
And you've created what is also now a wonderful legacy in this family of coaches. I don't know whether you call it a family or a community of coaches. It sounds a bit like a
They're
family.
like a family, really. We're like a family. It is a
Yeah, I'm
community, of
sure.
course, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And I've spoken to some of them, and they all seem very tight knit,
yes,
whether it's a particular cohort or I mean, I, like you, trained in the Louise Hay and various other things, and I ended up creating what I call a pick and mix menu for my
mhm,
clients. So they might want some tapping with some coaching or whatever. But back in the day, that was because there wasn't a coaching course that offered anything other than pure coaching. Whereas your course is very encompassing of all sorts of holistic things. Perhaps you just take a moment to describe it.
yes. Because what I found was that clients needed so many more things than just the coaching. You know, they needed to learn some things like how to relax themselves. Meditation helps. So being able to teach them one-on-one how to meditate. And it's one of the things I teach my students is voice coaching. And
Uh-huh.
so, yeah, so it's something I would have trained in many, many years ago. And so it's something I give my students everything I have, and really how to use their voice in a way that can help to bring people back down into themselves. Um, the neurolinguistic programming, I think that's really powerful, and it's very complementary to the Louise Hay. And it's, oh my gosh, I don't know how people can coach without it. I don't know, because our words are so important. And neurolinguistic programming shows you how to help your client to continue moving forward in their mind rather than going back all of the time, especially if you have a client who's been through a lot of counseling and they're ready to move forward. They think, but they keep slipping back. With neurolinguistic programming, you can really help them to start moving forward in a different way and give them the tools to do that. Then there's the stress management. And again, that's so helpful, because seriously, who doesn't experience stress in their lives? Most of us manage it, but some people don't. And for the people that don't, having the tools to help them to manage stress, to deal with time in a different way, changing their relationship, because we all have the same amount of time, but changing their relationship to time. And then I also bring in tools from the Louise Hay program, you know, just really helping them to build their confidence, build their self-esteem, and just showing them again how to use their mind in a way that helps them to create the experiences they want in their life. You know, and even little simple things like body language can help to change, how to change your state. If you're not
Yeah.
feeling good, how little things you can do to change your states. You start tuning into feeling better.
Mm, mm. I'm glad you said you help your students use their voice. You might not have said use, but it was
Yeah,
something like that,
yeah, yeah.
rather than find their voice, because that kind of grates a little bit for me, because we all have a voice. It's how do
Mhm.
we use it? How do we learn to step up and use it? And I completely agree with you about the NLP language. And that's why I recommend to everybody that when I'm mentoring students to, well, even practitioners who are
Yeah.
already qualified, is to read Brendan Bray's book, The Atlas of the Heart, because she does some valuable work on vulnerability. She's a vulnerability expert and did a
Mhm.
massive piece of research. I think she interviewed about 7,000 people in America, and it was around their emotions. And essentially, they were angry, happy, or sad.
Right.
So three emotions, and yet she's identified something like 87 different emotions. So if they don't understand what they're really feeling, and the coach or mentor doesn't understand it, how can you bridge that gap? So I think it's a good book for practitioners to read so that they can challenge the client. So when you say you're depressed, what is your definition of it? Oh, you're in the
Yeah.
weeds, or
Yeah.
the opposite. So I'm working my way through that book again because it is really useful. Um, but that's why for us coaches, every day is a school day. We've
It is.
continually learning and coming
Mm.
across new material. And even some of the classics like the Louise Hay stuff, it's all good.
It's all good. It really is.
Mm,
So it does make a difference. And the last thing I teach is presentation skills, just help because some of my students, they've never stood in front of a group, a live group of people. And then we also do presentation skills for online. If you're creating a video about lighting, about audio, about content. So it's lovely. And we have our own little Telegram groups where we upload the videos and we really give support to each other and help with lighting and giving examples and things for audio. And so it's very, very much supportive within our
mm.
community, family, the two words.
And I think it's one of those key things when I get students inquiring, as I do most days, what course should I take? I want to train as a coach. I'm saying increasingly, one of the things that you should be asking and make those phone calls, speak to the founder of the training academy, and if they're not available to speak to you, move on to the next one because
Yeah,
we are in the business of having a conversation. People
yeah,
should want to talk to you. So that's the first thing. The second thing is once you've got your certificate in your hand,
mhm,
what are you going to do with it? Do they have business models?
yeah,
Modules that are going to help you get a return on investment. So the fact that you do that and have taken it to the next level in terms of digital, social media, video
yeah,
is king,
yeah,
presentation skills, is just fantastic.
yeah,
I
yeah.
hope your students are doing it.
Oh, they are. I am so proud of them. I'm like the mommy here. I'm so proud of them. I really am. They're amazing. Absolutely
Oh,
amazing.
fantastic.
Absolutely.
Yes, so creating lots of
Yeah,
conversations online,
yeah,
it's the best way. And one of the other ways is having written a book. I'm always talking to people about be properly trained, be insured if your country offers it, become independently accredited, and do something that is going to set you apart as an expert in your field, such as having a book because when you've got a book, you've got a signature speech, you've got a masterclass, and it can work the other way around. When you've got a signature speech, when you know exactly what your niche is and what you offer, you can then sit back and write a book. It
yeah.
becomes a workbook, it becomes a course. Whichever way around you do it, it's an important link in what has become a very crowded, noisy digital space. So you're giving them those tools to cope. Um, uh, and keep up to date with technology.
Absolutely. And what I say to my students is, you have your own individual fingerprint, and yes, there may be coaches out there, but there's nobody like you. There's no one that walks like you, talks like you, communicates like you, and you have those people waiting for you that want your help,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yes, actually, you said something there that reminded me about the first time I contacted you. And you said, about that conversation and be sure to answer that when you get that inquiry. And it was one of the reasons I chose you, excuse me. When I emailed you, I mean, it was almost like within the hour I had a reply. I mean, it was really quickly. It was within an hour or a few hours. And I had a phone call with you, Dawn. And I loved it. Because this is how I am with my clients, with my
Mm.
coaching clients, with my students. This is how I am. I'm there for them. And I felt I wanted another community that I'm a part of, which is like your community, and that I feel heard, I feel listened to, and I feel supported by. And I got that feeling straight away when I contacted you. Yourself and David, amazing, absolutely. I feel you have my back in everything. And thank you for that. And I would
Oh,
say anyone out there who's watching this and is deciding who they want to be accredited by, I can so recommend the IAPC&M.
oh,
Because if you want that family feel, if you want that supportive feel, that's what I get from you year after year.
oh,
So
thank
thank
you,
you.
Carolyn.
Thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. That means a huge amount because we do our absolute best. We eat, sleep, and breathe,
I
not just
know.
the accreditation, but the community,
Yes.
and making sure that everybody understands that we believe everybody matters.
Yes.
So thank you. Really
Mm.
appreciate that. And I'll
And
definitely
I
pass it
want
on
to
to
thank
David.
you for being so patient with me because I know many times in the past you've asked me to come on a call and I've always found some excuse, you know. I lead quite a mindful life. I'm not on social media a lot at all. And you know what, when you reached out this time for someone to come on the call, I said, you know what, Carolyn, it's about time. So thank you for your patience with me, and it's lovely,
You're,
lovely to be here
yeah.
today and have this chat.
It's an absolute pleasure. I firmly believe that everything happens at the right time when
Mhm.
everybody is ready and aligned. And it's got to the stage where I'm booked. These conversations get booked up about 3 months in advance. So it's only if I have a dropout, and I had two in the last quarter,
That's right,
um,
yes,
that I was able to put a message out. And thankfully, you said yes, I can do it. So it was obviously the right time.
it was. We were aligned.
We were aligned. Let me just check my mobile, Carolyn, in case while we're chatting
Okay.
away, there is any questions. Um, just somebody says, I think I need to take up this breathing, walking, and swimming exercise. Yeah, I mean, we can hardly recommend it, particularly post-COVID, where mental health is at the top of the agenda like never before.
Yeah,
Getting out in nature, looking after yourself, meditating. People shouldn't be misled by the simplicity of these things
yes,
because actually that's what we're craving as humans. We want the simplicity. We don't need the high energy of going to a shopping mall, maxing out on credit cards. That's a very, very short-term adrenaline rush. But when you drive out into the mountains or you drive to the beach or you sit silently with yourself, it's a bit scary for some people though, Carolyn, isn't it?
Mhm. Oh, it's what fills me up, Dawn.
Mm,
It's what fills me up. I mean, if I miss a morning, my day feels different.
hmm
You know, it's like, I don't know, it's my mindfulness, and it's what starts off my day. It's how I live my life. And it's just creating habit. That's all it is. You create the habit.
And what would be your tips for creating that habit? Because I know there are
Well,
people who
yes,
are
I do have
desensitized.
one.
Great,
I
you know,
do
from
have,
their
well,
phone, their laptop,
I'm just
their
remembering
TV.
one from
Good,
years ago. Yeah, I'm
good.
remembering one from years ago
Okay.
where I gotten out of the habit of walking. This was living in Ireland. And I wanted to get into it. And I thought, how am I going to do this? And I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to leave my walking stuff right there beside the bed. Minute I get up in the morning, get dressed, grab the dog out the door, and I'm going to walk 10 minutes away
hmm
from my house. And that's it.
hmm
So I started and I began walking 10 minutes every morning. But of course, you have to turn around, Dawn, and come back. So it was 20 minutes, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I knew I was sort of fooling myself, but I wasn't fooling myself. But it worked, Dawn, because it kept saying, you
Yeah.
know what, it's only 10 minutes. And
Mm.
after a week, you know what, I'd make it 15 minutes away from the house. So it was 30 minutes walk. And
Yeah.
after another few weeks, I did 45 minutes. Before I knew it, I was into the hour. I got into the lock. I got around the lock a couple of times. Then that's it. And it didn't matter what the weather. I just got all weather clothes and went out. But I left the dog if it was too much rain, and just wet myself. And it was just bliss. It didn't matter the weather. It was like a challenge. How dare you think I won't go out in this weather? So no, it was just bliss then. It was my start to my day. And I think
Yeah.
how we start our day and how we end our day is so important.
Yes.
So important.
I need to, well, I need to get back into the habit of walking daily since we lost our little dog. It doesn't feel the same. Um, and also when you're out walking with a dog, you meet people, you say hello. When you're on your own, it feels like you would be odd if you did
Oh,
more than a nod or whatever. So you sort of had your head down and you march on. Um, but I started again and again and again, because it takes a while to
Yeah.
form a habit. So on Monday I did about 6K. Yesterday I did 5K. Today I haven't done anything yet because I had an early start, but I am committed to doing a daily walk again, because when we had the dog we did 8 to 10K every day,
Wow.
except in the
Mhm.
rain. And as somebody said to me, there's no such thing as bad weather, it's just bad clothing. So
Yes, it's so
you
true.
going
It's
out in
so
all
true.
weathers reminds me
Yes,
of that.
yes, yes. And
Mm,
you know what? When you have perfect clothing for that type of weather, you're
yeah,
sorted. You're fine.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe
Trouble
having
is, if
something to
I'm out
listen
in the
to.
rain, Carolyn, my hair goes like that.
Well, get a big hood.
Yeah, yeah, it's all excuses, isn't it?
It is, it is. There's
Yeah,
always something you can do, always something.
yes.
And so you can listen to, I love listening to stories when I walk, and I leave the dog at home. I bring her after I come back because she's 12 and she's so slow walking. So it isn't exercise. So I bring her either before I go or when I get back. And then I do my own walk. And yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, you are really dedicated, very
Well, I
committed.
love my space and time. She's not an easy little dog to walk. She never was. I
Yeah.
don't know why. She walks sideways and into people, and and she wants to stop so often, so it doesn't feel like a walk. It feels
No.
like her walk, not my walk. So yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
just bring her and go myself then.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right. And I thought about this on yesterday's morning walk, is earbuds. That would make the difference, because I
Yeah,
could listen to the podcasts and it would be
yeah,
like a double whammy setting me up for the day.
yeah,
So I'm
yeah.
committed to doing that tomorrow. I've already got
And
them.
even music, Dawn. You can
Yes.
walk in time to the music, and it can
Yeah.
help to get you up and moving. You might even
Yeah.
do a little shimmy here and there.
Yes. I might look up this lady who dances around town for her
Yeah,
walk.
yes,
Ah,
yeah,
fantastic idea.
yeah,
Okay. So,
brilliant.
in the absence of any questions, I'm conscious of time because I know you're a busy lady. What, if anything, would you like to add for students who are listening, or perhaps potential clients who are looking for a coach or mentor to help them overcome self-procrastination and have better habits, and a little bit about your next signing on for your course?
Okay, so what I would say to them is reach out. I mean, just have a chat with me. You can just have a call, and it's up to you then whether you sign up or not. I'm here for you if you wish. Signing up for the course, because it's the way it's written and it's online, you can sign up at any time once I have a space.
Right.
So if you're interested in starting, contact me. I will let you know when I have the next space available.
Okay. And you're on the
Mhm.
IAPC&M directory, obviously, and
That's
I think
right.
you've got a new website as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I do. It's info at coach, the number 4 life.ie. Oh no, that's the email address. coachforlife.ie with the number 4. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. I know you and I could chat a lot about all the holistic practices. You're into
Yes,
Qigong, which I want to do, and
yes, yes,
we're both very much into movement, whether it's Tai Chi,
yes.
line dancing, or whatever. So a lot in common, but we'll save that for another time.
John, I forgot one little thing. One of
Please.
the modules in the training they can do here with me in Lanzarote. Some
Oh,
students choose to do it all online, but some students like to do one module here. So they come over for a long weekend and they do the module here with me.
wow.
So,
Well,
yeah.
that's a unique
Yes,
selling
yes.
point that they've got the choice.
So if
And
they go
do
on
they
my
stay with you,
Instagram,
or stay? Do they actually
no,
stay with
no,
you?
they stay locally in one of the beautiful hotels or one of
Yeah,
the villas, but I usually help them to find something to
source
suit
it.
them. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. And some extend it into a holiday. My last group were here in the summer and they had an absolutely fantastic time. They're up on my Instagram. I have a little video of them up there, so they'll see them up there. But yeah, it was brilliant, really brilliant. A lot of fun and a lot of learning.
Bet. It's
Yeah,
great that you've got the choice that they can do that, because there's been one or two courses in the past where I thought, oh, I'd like to do that, but it's mandatory to go to Heathrow and stay at wherever, and I just don't want to do it. But having the choice
yes.
is a
There's
little bit
nothing
more,
mandatory in my training. It's always to suit the student, and that's it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you very much. I
And
appreciate you
thank you,
sharing your time
Dawn.
with me this afternoon, Carolyn.
And
If
thank you
anybody
again.
has any questions for Carolyn, you can contact her on all sorts of different mediums, the social media platforms, her own website, or just use the IAPC&M contact us form and we'll forward any questions that you think of later for Carolyn. But as you can evidently see, we're both in the philosophy of not hiding behind emails. We believe in having a conversation, you doing your due diligence, picking the right coach or training provider for you. And you'll find Carolyn very receptive to a phone call. So thank you for your time, Carolyn. I'll let you get
Thank
on
you
and
for your
enjoy the rest of your
time.
day. Thank you,
Okay, you too.
everybody. And I will be here same time next week. Thank you.
Okay, bye bye.
Bye-bye.